ready.
Woo! Hey, Amy Mackey, how you doing today?
Hi, Rip. It's so good to be here with you on this fine Friday.
It is a fine Friday, and you people joining us today have no idea what you are in store for. You are in store for such a treat. I can't even believe it. Amy, before we kind of jump into all kinds of wonderful holiday recipes, are you and Bill going to do anything for Halloween?
You know what? We probably won't. We haven't done anything for Halloween ever, other than hand out candy to trick-or-treaters. We've never gotten dressed up. We should plan to do that. Probably not this year, but maybe next year.
Well, everybody in chat, let us know if you're going to dress up for Halloween and what you're going to dress up as. I'm trying to decide what to do for Halloween. I've been told by my kids I should be, what is it? It's a superhero, but I'm wearing my underpants, like super underpants or something like that.
Captain Underpants.
Captain Underpants. That's it. Captain Underpants. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Should be fun. Well, Amy, so how is the weather where you are?
You know what? It finally got a little bit chilly. I actually put on my winter coat this morning to walk the dog. It was 39 degrees here in Portland. The rain has stopped. It's a beautiful sunny day. So sunny, I have my blinds closed because I had a huge glare coming on me. But it's the colors are on all of the trees. It's getting very, very beautiful here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's 88 and muggy here. We've had a lot of rain the last probably 4 or 5 days. Yesterday, I think we got a total of almost 3.5 inches. Wow. Yeah, which is substantial. And we needed it. Yes. Boy, did we ever need it.
For sure.
Yeah.
88 degrees doesn't sound very conducive to holiday recipes, but if anybody else is in a heat wave, you're just going to have to think ahead a little bit.
Well, and what we're going to talk about today is going to be good for the next several months. So yes. That's for sure. Now, I'm trying to think. So I'm sure almost all of you know Amy, but if you don't, Amy has been with PLANTSTRONG for, gosh, Amy, I can't even, is it 10, 11 years? What is it?
11.
11 years. Amy is one of our wonderful coaches on our coaching program. She also kind of monitors and coaches everybody on our Go Facebook page. She is a recipe developer, and really, she knows better than anybody else where everything is kept in the PLANTSTRONG world, which is very, very important. So everybody needs an Amy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Amy, with that, so you have prepared a really incredible holiday bundle for everybody. And you're going to share with them how many recipes today?
I think we're going to cover 11 recipes today. There's actually 24 recipes in the holiday guide. And so there's an array of recipes, everything from like dips and salsas all the way through desserts, breakfast, dinners, entrees, side dishes, you name it, it's in there.
Right. And you've done so, I mean, we were going over the photos of the recipes, and I want you to know that your mouth will salivate and you'll want to do everything you can to figure out how to make these recipes as soon as possible. Yeah. There's a
company behind you.
Oh yeah. So I have a tree that's being cut down outside, and I need to put a phone number, I guess, on this.
Okay, you go. I'll talk for a minute.
Yeah, you talk for a second. This is what happens when you're live.
That's okay. We've got the skills to wing it. So basically, what I wanted to share with everyone is that when I was a little girl, my mom used to buy those little cookbooks that you would get at the checkout lane at the grocery store, whether they were by Pillsbury or by Kraft or some other company. There was always these little cookbooks that were paperback, a little bit bigger than a TV guide. Kind of aging myself there just a little bit. But if you grew up with these little cookbooks that, you know, you could, I remember my mom had one that was Jello based. Of course, we're not going to use that now. But all of these recipes just basically were ways to make things a little bit easier using products that you know. And so I grew up flipping the pages through those and picking out things that I wanted my mom to make. And so that was one of my favorite things about holiday cooking when I was a kid, was getting these little recipe books. And so putting together the Plant Strong holiday guide was so much fun for me, because it was basically my opportunity to create one of these booklets just for us, based upon all of those fond memories I have from creating recipes with my mom when I was little. So that was the impetus for putting this together. I was thinking about all of the ways that you can take products that you know and love, like, for example, the Plant Strong Cornbread or the Plant Strong pancake mix, and making recipes using those, so that way it just expands upon the amazing amount that you can make with those.
Hey, Amy. So you got 24 recipes. Of those recipes, do you have them broken down as far as like entrees, side dishes, desserts, stuff like that?
There's all of those different things in there. Everything from the cranberry salsa that Jane created for the Engine 2 cookbook, which is a perennial favorite at our house. It just puts a slight twist on your typical cranberry sauce. It's really got a little bit of spice to it because there's jalapenos involved, but it makes an amazing topping for all kinds of things. So we've included that in there. So you've got everything from that to like the Ross celery salad, which is still one of my favorite recipes of all time. It seems like a very simple recipe because it's just celery and smoked almonds with some dates and some lemon juice, salt and pepper. It's absolutely incredible. If you haven't tried it, it's got sweet, it's got crunch, it's got that smoky, salty flavor from the almonds, all together with the brightness of the lemon juice. It's amazing. So that'll be in there for you all the way through all of the side dishes and entrees, right?
And let me backtrack just for a sec. So that celery salad from Chrissy Roth, just a little backstory on that. So JD Roth is the creator of The Biggest Loser, and he and his wife Chrissy, they went plant-based, I want to say probably 5-6 years ago. And so I had JD and Chrissy on the Plant Strong podcast in 2019. I was out in LA, went out to their home, and Chrissy served a 4-course meal, and the salad was this celery salad, and it was lights out incredible. And ergo, here we go. Now we have it as part of the holiday recipe guide.
It's really one of those recipes you could make at any time of year. It's great as a side dish, even with things like a burger. It would be phenomenal on the side of that. But ultimately, there's a bunch of recipes in this guide that will everything you need, from the entree of the centerpiece of your meal, whether it is our tempeh brisket or it is the cauliflower pot roast or the Lynn's meatloaf,
Yeah.
right? Is in there as well. We've got all kinds of side dishes and then a bunch of desserts that are Plant Strong, plus some breakfast options as well. So it covers the whole gamut from one end to the other.
All right. So I think in the interest of time, let's dive in. So where do you want to start?
So let's start with a recipe that some of you may have seen already. This recipe was put out in one of our newsletters. It may have also been on Facebook. I think it's because we were so excited about it. This one has already been shared. So you may have seen this recipe already, but if you have not tried it yet, oh my goodness. This recipe is created using the base of the Plant Strong pancake mix. Now, I use the 7-grain pancake mix to make this particular recipe. It's got pumpkin in it. It's got our Plant Strong black cumin vanilla chai tea and chocolate chips. It's absolutely phenomenal. It comes out like a snack cake. You don't need any sort of frosting or anything like that on it. It's just absolutely everything you could want all in one little bar.
How did you think to put tea in there as well?
Actually, it was Lori Kordowich's idea. She had said, she had a chai spice cake before, and that was really delicious. And I was making this pumpkin chocolate chip cake. And she said, I bet you those spices would go really well together because there is such a thing as chocolate chai. You guys, you have got to try this because the flavor combination is amazing.
So I'm going through some of the comments, and thank you everybody for joining us this Friday. If you got in a little late, but Julie and Sean Tomlinson say we all want the ho-ho holidays to feel festive and fun, but I don't want the heartburn, the bad cholesterol, and death that traditionally goes with it. And you know what? We hear you loud and clear, and it's one of the reasons why we are Plant Strong. We don't want the cholesterol and the death on our holiday plates. And so hopefully what you're seeing today will inspire you and also inspire those people that have been doing death on their plates to no longer do death.
Oh, absolutely. And so all of the recipes that fall within this guide, they all fit the Plant Strong guidelines. Some of these may be a little more indulgent than we would have on a daily basis, but let's face it, if the opportunity arises at a holiday party for you to have a whole plate of sugar cookies or to have one of these recipes instead, obviously this is the better option. Yeah.
People are already clamoring. They want to know like, how do we get the recipes? if I'm on the Plant Strong email list, will you send it? We haven't even started going through them.
So basically this recipe is already on our Plant Strong Facebook page. So if you scroll down on the feed on our Plant Strong page, you will see that. The recipes that we're going to talk about are in the recipe guide. We are going to give out 4 of these recipes that we can give you for free. That if you email us at hello@plantstrong.com and ask for the 4-page recipe guide, we will send that to you for free. I'll also link you to this recipe that we've already given out. So that will be in there as well. All you have to do is send an email to hello@plantstrong.com and I will send those. To get the 24 recipes, the entire recipe guide, we're giving that away free as a perk from now to the end of the year on the Plant Strong Foods website. With any $100 purchase, you get the 24-page guide completely included with your order. So when you place your order, you will get a link to download the entire 24-page or actually it's 27 pages, 24 recipes in that guide. You'll get that guide as a download. So you'll have it for the entire holiday season, whether it's this year, next year, years to come. It's one of those keepsake items that you can keep and use anytime you need a good recipe.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. You did an incredible job putting that together, Amy. And everybody also know that, listen, and this is just a shameless plug for the food line that I absolutely have worked so hard on the last 3 years. Our goal is to have the most delicious, nutritious, and convenient whole plant-based foods in the market. And I think we're doing a really great job getting there. And we have so many different options for you. But also, when you order over 75, you get free shipping. So you go to 100, you get the free shipping and this recipe guide. So it's all good. So let's dive in. What else we got?
Okay, so in addition to the pumpkin chocolate chai snack cake recipe, it's so amazing because you do it in a 13x9 pan, you slice it into 12 squares. This recipe freezes really well. If you're one of those people that maybe are going to eat 2, 3, 4 of these snack cake bars, put half of the recipe in the freezer, save it for a rainy day. You can heat it up in the microwave. It reheats really beautifully. So that's this recipe. Let's move on to something a little more lunch or dinner centered. So the next recipe is called the Secret Sauce Curry. I really had a lot of fun making this with our brand new secret sauce mix from Plant Strong. It is our peanut curry recipe. It's a mix. You can add water to it. You can use it as a dip. You can use it as a marinade. You can use it in so many different ways. I am still brainstorming dozens of ideas for what to do with this, but I turned the secret sauce into a curry base when I was making this recipe. So this is one of those hearty, soul warming curry recipes that I have shown here, served with a black barley that is just really incredible. This is one of those scrape the bottom of the bowl, stick to your ribs kind of recipes.
And how exactly did you use the secret sauce? How much water and stuff like that?
Well, that's in the recipe. It's just added in. So it's just one of the ingredients that goes into the recipe. So it's not something that you mix on the side. It's just something you're going to dump in the pot, stir it up. There's just, there's some other spices and broth and things like that in there. But basically, it's just you're adding that as a seasoning. And it just adds such an incredible rich flavor to the cauliflower and the peas and the onions and other things that are in this dish. It's one of those recipes that freezes really well, and like a lot of soups, is even better the second day.
Yeah. So like for example, Corinne just got the peanut curry sauce. Can't wait to try it. So maybe this would be a great dish for her to use it in.
Very much.
And it's so incredibly versatile, whether you're doing what Amy's done here, where you add it with it, whether you just mix a cup of water and and you use it as like a sauce over a marinade over tofu, tempeh, vegetables. You can put it on salads, dipping sauce if you want to make it thicker, dipping sauce for spring rolls and vegetables.
You know what I did with the secret sauce the other day? I mixed it with chickpeas and aquafaba and a little bit of lemon juice. And I made secret sauce hummus.
Woo! Wow.
It was amazing.
Love it.
For dipping with carrots or any other thing, it just makes it a little bit heartier than just regular as a dip. It added an incredible flavor to hummus, so that was super fun to make as well. So I know you're really going to love the secret sauce curry. It's definitely one of those things that you can pack for lunches, put it in a jar with your greens and your grain, and take it anywhere you go.
All right. So are we moving on to the pumpkin cornbread muffins?
So I stumbled across the pumpkin cornbread muffins quite by accident. I was getting ready to make regular cornbread muffins, and I was reaching in my cupboard to get the applesauce to mix into the cornbread. And as I was reaching for the applesauce, I couldn't find it. The pumpkin was in front of it. I had a couple of jars of pumpkin, and my applesauce was right behind it. And I was moving the pumpkin to grab the applesauce, and I thought, hold on, wait. I think that might make a really amazing combination. So in the same way that you would use applesauce in a recipe as a replacement for oil, if you add pumpkin, it kind of does the same sort of thing. It just adds a little bit different dimension than the applesauce does. These cornbread muffins disappeared from my house so quickly. My husband ate 3 of them in a row. We had some sort of soup that night, the day that I made these. And he was just like, okay, because he had the cornbread muffins just as is, if you make it according to the recipe on the back of the package, but he hadn't ever had them with a little bit of pumpkin pie spice added in. And I added some pumpkin seeds to this one. And they're absolutely incredibly moist and flavorful. These go great for breakfast, or you could even just have these on a side with any soup or chili or anything like that you have. They're not so dessert oriented that you couldn't have it with soup, but alone, they are absolutely amazing as well.
And so the pumpkin, does it smooth it out a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't believe I haven't tried these. Okay, this weekend.
Well, yes, have fun. These are another one of those things that you can make a couple of batches of and freeze, and they heat back up in 30 seconds in the microwave if they're frozen. This is a great grab and go kind of thing that you can take with you, whether you're traveling for the holidays, getting on an airplane, wherever you might be going. This is a great opportunity to take something plant strong with you that travels really well and is really tasty.
Hey. Not gonna lie, I just like pumpkin. There, I said it, but don't get in between me and Rip's apple pie crisp.
You can just as easily do these with applesauce and apple pie spice.
Okay, all right. Well, and Diamond T-Bar, just so you know, hang on, because there's a recipe coming up that you are gonna adore.
I know it.
All right. Are we done with the pumpkin cornbread?
Yep.
All right. Can you guys believe how good Amy is with recipes. I just love listening to her describe everything.
Well, and I wish you all could have been a fly on the wall the day that I was making most of these, because ultimately the house smelled absolutely amazing, especially when I made this mulled tea.
Oh,
I love a good apple cider. Of course, on the Plant Strong plan, we don't drink juices, right? We tend to stick to things like coffee, tea, water, sparkling water. This is a tea that has been infused with flavors that you strain after you have cooked it for a while in a pot. I added apple slices and orange slices and some cinnamon sticks and some allspice, and added these things to the pot. You boil it for a little bit, you add the tea to it, and you get in all of those flavors infused into the black tea. It makes a really good pick-me-up on a busy day when you might be shopping. Your house is going to smell absolutely incredible when you boil up this mixture. And it's just one of those things that is so satisfying, and yet still basically just a tea. You're not really getting any calories out of this in that way. There's no sweetener that needs to be added. You get the sweetness naturally from the apples that are in this. This is one of those things that whether you're just boiling it on the stove so you can smell all of the smells, or you're putting it into a cup to consume it, it's absolutely holiday infused.
Lori is all about it right here. Loved mulled drinks. We'll definitely try it. And I do want to give a little shout out to our teas. They are so clean. There's no natural flavors, and I want you to know that these come from Sri Lanka. And my current chief operating officer of the Plant Strong Food Company, he had a tea company for 20 years. And it was a vertically integrated tea company. And they basically were a private label supplier for, Coca-Cola, Wendy's, you name it. And anyway, this is literally, if you're a tea connoisseur, I dare you to try any of our teas because they are some of the best in the world, truly.
They really are. And you can actually amp this one up a little bit if you want to do it with the black cumin vanilla chai, as opposed to using the Plant Strong breakfast tea. Would be just as incredible with that. If you really like those chai spices, go for it. It will be absolutely incredible in a cup. And also, I know it might sound crazy, but Rip, you were in 88-degree weather today.
Yeah.
This done, let it cool, serve it over ice. Oh my gosh.
I love the way that sounds. And our family favorite right now is the raspberry hibiscus. We have that just about every day. And there's only 2 ingredients in it, raspberries and hibiscus, period.
That's one of our favorites here too. We always have a jar of that in the refrigerator. It's super refreshing. And of course, caffeine free, being just an herbal tisane. So it's one of those really quick sort of bright pick-me-ups for the middle of the day. That's super refreshing. All right, let's move on to the next recipe. I'm really excited about this one because I really want to give a shout out to my grandmother. Mary Lorimer was my grandmother. And as a little girl, I used to watch her bake. She never ever used a recipe. And I think that's where I get my knack for just throwing things together. She had an old Martha Washington cookbook that was falling apart. It was probably from 1920. My grandmother was born in 1916. And she would always lay this cookbook out. I don't ever remember her turning pages though, but she always had the cookbook out. And she would just put things in the pot. And one of the things that she used to make was called an apple grunt. And a grunt or a slump is a traditional dessert that is consisting of berries or diced fruit cooked under spoonfuls of biscuit dough. So that's technically what a grunt is. My grandmother made this, of course, with milk and butter and sugar and all of the things. But I grew up eating this. She made it often. We would have Macintosh apples from Wentzler's Orchards, which was right up the road from my grandmother's farm. And this is a recipe that really is near and dear to my heart. It takes me back to being a little kid. And what happens when you make this is you're going to put the apples in the pan first. You're going to put some applesauce down. You're going to put the apples layered any way you want over it, add some cinnamon, and then you're going to put the gluten-free pancake mix from Plant Strong over the top of this. I add a little bit of cinnamon to my mix to add that extra oomph. You bake this and the apples are on the bottom of the pan. And so when you're ready to take it out, you're going to do this in a round 8-inch baking dish. You're going to put the plate over the top. You're going to flip it upside down, take the pot off. It will look just like this when you turn it upside down, because the applesauce creates that layer of like appley goodness, just like an apple pie on the bottom. And you just slice this. And how my grandmother would serve this would be warmed slightly with just a little bit of a drizzle of milk over it. So your favorite plant milk drizzled over this. So it's sort of this bowl of just absolutely warm, gooey apple goodness. This is one of my favorite recipes I've made recently, and it truly does taste just as good as my grandmother's did back in the day.
And is there a reason why you use the gluten-free mix as opposed to the 7-grain or the sweet potato?
I was trying to get this as close to my grandmother's apple grunt as possible. And of course, she used standard white all-purpose flour. I think that the gluten-free pancake mix really resembles that the most out of all of our pancake mixes. And so that was the one that I chose to use with this. And I was so happy with the results. Yeah.
Well, and if you haven't tried our pancake and waffle mixes, they perform better than any commercialized pancake and waffle mix that I've ever had in my life. And I know I'm sounding like crazy between the teas and the pancakes and the secret sauces, but this is how passionate we are about the products that we're creating now at PLANTSTRONG.
Well, and the fun thing about it is this, they are so versatile. So far we've used the pancake mixes to make the pumpkin chocolate chai snack cake, right? Yeah. We can make regular pancakes with it. We can make waffles with it. We can make something like this apple grunt. And I have another recipe surprise for you later on using the pancake mixes as well. Woo. What I love about them is that they're so versatile. There's so many different things you can do with them. And each one of the pancake mixes has a little bit of a different flavor profile, just a slight little bit difference in the texture. I am in love with these. I love pancakes. I grew up having pancakes for dinner, pancakes for breakfast, waffles, all of those different things. These are some of my favorite products that we have. And I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to bring you so many different ideas for using them that it can just make your life a lot easier. Yeah.
And Marley, you're so very, very welcome. And we'll be doing more gluten-free things in the future as well. Amy, this just came in here. From Susan. You all are keeping me on track. I made the pumpkin chai cake this morning. Delicious.
I'm so glad you liked it. When I make these things in the kitchen, and most of the time I'm here by myself during the day, it's me and my dog, and I'll try something when it's cooled enough to get it out of the pan, and it's like, oh my goodness. I'm telling my dog, I can't wait for everybody to try this. And then by the time I get the recipe written and put up for you guys so you can see it, and then you can have the opportunity to try it, it's a little bit of a delayed reaction, right? By the time Susan gets to make this recipe. So I'm so glad to hear that. I hope that I'm creating recipes that everyone will enjoy and can use in their own kitchen to help on their own PLANTSTRONG journey.
Absolutely, you are. And this is from Jeanette, who says, I can't wait to get my bundle that she ordered yesterday to try all these recipes. Same thing here. Yes, Sharon, I had the PLANTSTRONG waffles this morning. Buying the bundle has changed my routine. You know what? I love it. And that's why we're here, to help you with your routine.
Okay, so let's move on to the next recipe. This one is really easy, and it doesn't really need a recipe to go along with it, but is inside the guide, just so you have it. Take any chili, whether it is your own favorite chili recipe or the PLANTSTRONG chili recipes or the chili products that you can find on our website, and then put it in a pot, whether you're doing it in a cast iron or you're doing it in a Dutch oven or any particular container you want to bake this in. Put the cornbread mix over top, and you have an amazing meal. Serve it with a side salad, and you are good to go. Whether you like the smoky, the sweet and smoky, or you want to do the chipotle,
chunky chipotle, or the black bean, or just the firehouse.
There's so many ways that you can customize this. You could even do little cups, individual muffin cups. You could do this in your own little casserole bakers. This is one of those recipes, again, is great for doing with leftovers. If you make this ahead of time, it's always going to be better the next day once all the flavors kind of mingle together. This also freezes well. So you could do this in servings and scoop it into containers to take it for lunch, to your office or anything like that. It's definitely one of those hearty, rib sticking, amazing meals that you can make this winter.
Amy, Susan wants to know, Amy, just one box of chili for this or two?
I would do 2 boxes of chili for this. I believe that's what I have in the recipe. It depends on the size pan you want to do and how much cornbread mix you want to make. You can really customize this to be as small or as big as you want it to be. You could do it in a 13x9 pan, use a couple of packages of cornbread mix, use maybe 4 boxes of chili or a big pot of chili. So you could make this for a crowd if you wanted to.
Yeah. Diamond T-Bar. Holy cow, that looks good. Just wait. Just you wait, Diamond T-Bar.
So this is one of those recipes that would be great for one of those busy days that you have during the holiday season. It doesn't really take a whole lot of time to throw together. It's really just mixing up the cornbread mix, dumping it in the pan and popping it in the oven. So this is maybe not traditional for like a Thanksgiving dinner, but this is definitely something that your busy holiday season can use.
Amy, I think I'm realizing that you are a regular Martha Stewart. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow. That's awesome. I love eating amazing plant-strong food. I don't like cleaning up my mess.
That's for Bill.
Yeah, that's for Bill. And I really just love brainstorming the ideas on how to make this way of life even more enjoyable by having food that feels comfortable, that feels like things that we're familiar with, and yet can be absolutely delicious without all of the salt, sugar, and fat added.
Oh, look at this. Jeanette says, this will be perfect to take to our cul-de-sac Halloween night potluck.
That will be for sure. I know everybody, I mean, this is something that everybody will be like, wow, okay, this is great. I can totally do this. You don't need to, that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up while we're talking about these. If you are going to holiday parties, if you are, whether it's an office party or your potluck, don't label everything. That's the best advice I can give you.
Yes.
Right? If you label this vegan, salt, sugar, oil free, nobody's going to want to touch it. If you brought 2 of the exact same dishes and you labeled one and didn't label the other, you would be absolutely amazed at how much the non-labeled version will disappear and people might not touch the one that has the labels on it. So if you make a dish to take and share, don't put all the labels on it unless you know that there's somebody there that like maybe has an allergy that you're aware of or something like that. But I highly recommend you just put it on the table and let it speak for itself.
Well, but I would put like chili cornbread, right? But you just don't, but you don't put, right. And then here, Plants to the Rescue says, so much better than Martha. PLANTSTRONG. Yeah.
You guys are making me blush. Thank you. So let's move on to the next recipe. I'm really excited about this one. And of course, Rip, you have heard me talk about ad nauseum since we have had the pancake mixes. Sheet pan pancakes are one of my favorite things on the planet because I'm the pancake flipper. So if I'm cooking the pancakes in a pan and I'm flipping the pancakes and all of that, my husband's eating breakfast while I'm still in the kitchen flipping pancakes, right? And so what I love about sheet pan pancakes is that you pour it onto the parchment paper, you put it in the oven, it bakes in 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Any combination of ingredients you want to put in there is absolutely incredible. And then you take this out of the oven, you slice it into 12 squares, you end up having pancakes about this thick. And these are absolutely incredible. You can freeze these, pop them in the toaster for a quick breakfast anytime you want. This is the cranberry walnut pancakes on the sheet pan pancakes.
Now, what could I do? Banana chocolate walnut?
Yes.
Okay.
I have done peach raspberry with hemp seeds. I have done pumpkin. Just the same thing, just add some pumpkin and pumpkin pie spice.
Yeah.
This is cranberries, walnuts, some hemp seeds, a little bit of lemon zest and some pumpkin seeds on top just for color because that green really popped. I wanted to do this with fresh cranberries, which is what I prefer. I like that little bit of tartness, and I couldn't find any. So I made these about 3 weeks ago, and there were no fresh cranberries to be found in all of Portland. I looked everywhere. Now, I did find them yesterday. So fresh cranberries are hitting your produce section. You can use fresh cranberries if you want. I used dry in this recipe because it was all I could have at that moment. But any fruit that you want to put in these, any combination, whether you want to do blueberry banana or you want to do raspberry peach or you want to do apples, anything like that will work.
So, Plants to the rescue. Plants to the rescue. You are very vocal. So much easier on a holiday morning. What a time saver. Oh, and then this, Plants to the rescue. Husband is saying yes to that sheet pan pancake. And then look at Susan. Susan's, I make PLANTSTRONG sheet pancakes almost every weekend. Huge hit in my house. We do banana, walnut, chocolate chips most of the time. Susan, you're talking my love language.
Well, and absolutely. I mean, if you don't mind that they're in a square instead of round, this is a great time saver because you literally just fill up the pan, spread it out, sprinkle your stuff on top, put it in the oven, and it's going to be done in less time than it takes you to flip a whole bunch of pancakes. And this is a 13 by 18 pan. So it's a half sheet as opposed to a cookie sheet.
You really have to think outside the not the box, but the circle, the pancake circle that we're all used to. So, Amy, did you actually? So, did you just use water, or you use plant-based milk when you did this?
So it's plant-based milk. So I follow the instructions on the package, and I mixed up an entire package per the instructions on the package, and then I add whatever additives that I'm going to add to it. I put the parchment paper on the sheet. I pour it in the pan, I spread it out, and then I sprinkle some stuff on top and bake it. That's it. Wow. That's all.
Wow. And I want people to know that when I've been making my pancakes, I haven't done this yet. This weekend, along with the pumpkin cornbread muffins, I'm going to do this. But when I do it, I just use water, and I can't believe how great it is just with water.
Sure,
so, absolutely. FYI, you don't need plant-based milk.
Nope, you don't. Yeah. All right, so moving on from the sheet pan pancakes, we're going to tackle another one. So, a million years ago, my daughter used to love eating at a Mexican restaurant called Chi-Chi's. It was a chain across the country, and one of the side dishes that you could have at Chi-Chi's was called sweet corn cake, and it was a scoopable sweet cornbread casserole that came in a scoop as a side dish, and my daughter loved that. And so we figured out a way to make that not in a PLANTSTRONG way when my daughter was little, so we could make it at home. And I think for a while there was actually a packet of mix that you could buy at the store to make it. I don't think that's available anymore, but this is my rendition of the old Chi-Chi's sweet corn cake casserole. And it is using our cornbread mix and corn. And you're going to put this in a casserole dish the same way that you would do if you were baking the cornbread complete to cornbreadness of being, right? Regular cornbread. But instead, partway through, you're going to scoop this. You're going to stir it up in the way that if you were making like ice cream and you put it in the freezer, you're going to want to scoop it and mix it up a little bit. You scoop this halfway through the recipe and just stir it around. You don't want it to form a complete cake. You want it to be more like stuffing. And you do this with this recipe. And inside the recipe, I give you all kinds of different options for customizing this in different ways. This is just a plain sweet corn casserole, but you could also add celery and onions. You could make this more like stuffing, add some sage and some rosemary and thyme.
Yeah, it looks to me so much like an incredible stuffing. Right? If you just add it, like you said, you could add a little bit of other ingredients and you've got the perfect stuffing. So is it semi-sweet?
It is semi-sweet because the cornbread mix is kind of sweet to begin with, and then add the corn on top of that. You could add things like red bell pepper and jalapenos to take this in a completely different direction. It's really a great base to customize. I like to think of this as sort of a different rendition of like cheesy chickpeas, because with cheesy chickpeas, you can add all kinds of things to make it any way you want. This is sort of the same sort of way, but my favorite way to have this is exactly how it's shown here. Just put a scoop of this in your chili. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
we have a couple people that are getting in late and they want to know how you can get the recipes. Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to talk about that later? What do you think?
I'll talk about it at the end here. We only have a few more to go, so we're almost there.
All right, hang in there, Susan. Hang in there, Susan.
After the sweet corn casserole, whether you have this on your Thanksgiving table or this is an addition to any soup or stew that you might be making, it's great.
That is so. I want to jump into my computer.
So this is my favorite pumpkin pie recipe, and
no, that's not a sweet corn. That's not a sweet corn casserole. Change that up. There we go, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie. So here's the thing. I have been searching over the years for a pumpkin pie recipe that I could put in a crust, right? So if you know anything about making actual pie crust, there's copious amounts of butter involved. And of course, we don't use butter on the Plant Strong plan. So how do you make a pie crust without butter that's still going to be tender and flaky?
Yeah, how do you do it?
There's a lot of ways that you can go about doing it. However, I haven't really found one that was enjoyable to eat. It might look okay, but they're usually kind of hard. So,
I gotta just show you some of these comments. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
This recipe is decadent.
Oh, I gotta say, Sharon, I have watched the latest and newest Lost in Space on Netflix. It is so good. It is so good. All right, go ahead, Amy. You were on a roll and I interrupted you.
That's okay. This recipe is definitely Danger Will Robinson. This is a crust base that is made from dates and Rip's Big Bowl cereal, which actually makes one of the most amazing crusts I have ever had. So if you like a graham cracker crust, this is going to be similar to that, only a little bit more hearty. It holds up really well. I do this in a springform pan, so that way I can press all of the crust around to the edges to get everything in there just so. This is amazing. I will tell you, I only make this once a year.
Why is that?
Well, there are cashews involved. So this is a calorie-dense, definite decadent dessert that you are going to want to try, but make sure you have company present so they can share this with you. You don't want to be alone with this entire pumpkin pie. It's so good. It's something that I keep in the refrigerator once I make it. And it is just absolutely amazing. You get all of the richness from the cashews and the pumpkin and the spices on this amazing crispy crust that comes out just like magic. It took me a couple of tries to get this recipe correct. I wanted it to be everything I wanted a pumpkin pie to be. It's one of my favorite things. And if I can't have a butter flaky flour-based crust, this is the next best thing.
All right. This is going to be, so I'm flying home for Thanksgiving and every Esselstyn in the family is going to show up. Jane, Ted, Zeb, all their children. And it's going to be Thanksgiving, but it's also going to be, we're going to celebrate Essie's 90th birthday.
Nice.
And so this will be what I make for Thanksgiving dinner.
It's so good. So when you're pressing your crust and you're doing all of the things that are associated with that, you're going to want to make sure that it's pressed in firmly. And once you get it around your springform pan pressed in firmly, you are good to go. I bake the crust and then I put the filling in after that, and it's just absolutely marvelous. I am so impressed with this pumpkin pie. This actually took me 10 years to come up with because I've tried and failed in years prior. It just wasn't the same. This is a pie worth sharing.
Wow. I don't know if I can wait till Thanksgiving.
All right. So that's enough of the pie. Let's move past the pie on to the next recipe.
Yeah, something healthy.
This is definitely less calorie dense than the pumpkin pie for sure, but it's also worth sharing. I'm a fan of loaded potato soup, but that can actually be pretty calorie dense depending upon how you're making it. A lot of plant-based loaded potato soups include lots of cashews and things like that. So I did a similar thing with tomato. This is a loaded tomato soup that has all kinds of ingredients added. And one of my favorite things to keep in mind, and I wanted to share this idea with everyone, you see what's in the pot is not exactly what's in the bowl, because I have topped each one of these soup bowls with some microgreens, with some avocado, a little bit of a drizzle. I love to take hummus and thin it down with some water and lemon juice to make a really creamy drizzle for on top of soup, on top of a bowl, anything like that that you can think of. And I also have some hemp seeds and some garlic powder and nutritional yeast to sprinkle on as well, kind of like a faux Parmesan. This is one of those great soups for a rainy day, a snowy day. I grew up having grilled cheese and tomato soup when I was sick. That was my mom's way.
Yeah.
I would have that with 7-Up. That's my childhood sick day memory. And this is one of those recipes that really hits the spot. Added some avocado in there as well. It makes a really hearty soup. I like to use fire roasted tomatoes when I make this because it just adds a little bit more depth to it. You can customize this recipe by adding things that you really love. I added some Hungarian hot wax peppers that I got at the farmer's market in this particular recipe. If you don't like the spicy, you can just add regular bell peppers. You can add anything that you want in here. Mushrooms. There's all kinds of things that you can customize this with. And it's probably my favorite tomato soup recipe that didn't come from Campbell's in a can, which is horrible. So, but this is one of those recipes that feels comforting to me when I make it.
Oh my gosh, it looks so comforting. When I was sick back in the day, I would have toast and ginger ale.
Yep.
Yeah,
The Canada Dry ginger ale when I was little. Yep.
Exactly.
For sure. So this is one of those recipes that makes a big pot, and it's it also, again, better the next day if you can make the soup ahead of time. All of those flavors mingle together and really come alive on the next day. And then don't be afraid to dress up your soups in the way that I have shown here. You can add any kind of topping. You could and let's just say you have a regular vegetable soup. You can make croutons out of potato cubes and add those. Add a scoop of hummus to make any clear broth soup creamy. That's one of my super secret tricks.
Hey, Susan wants to know, are there any beans in the soup? It looks amazing.
There are not, but you could add cannellini beans or kidney beans to this. Either one would be great. I love cannellini beans. The white kidney beans are one of my favorites. They would go great in the soup. You could also add, you could add soy curls to this. The Butler soy curls would be really good in this soup. But it was pretty hearty all by itself, especially with the toppings added at the end. And any way you want to customize this, use the soup base as your base recipe and have fun with it.
Yeah, Heather says fire roasted tomatoes always take dishes to the next level.
They really do. It just adds that little bit of dimension. And even the same thing if you have like the fire roasted corn, the frozen corn. Yeah. Also, when you're making salsas or you're making tacos or anything like that, really does add a lot of dimension to it. So I do recommend that.
Where do you get your fire roasted corn from?
Trader Joe's usually has it. And if not Trader Joe's, Whole Foods usually has it as well.
Got it. Yep.
I'm not fire roasting my own corn. I'm not that savvy. Okay. Oh yeah. Tempeh would be great in that. Absolutely. All right. So let's move on to the next recipe. We have
drum roll.
These berry cookies are phenomenal, and this is one of those cookies it's sort of a combination of this could be a breakfast to go. These cookies have our berry granola inside, in addition to raspberries, whether you're using fresh raspberries or frozen. This is a moist, soft cookie that travels really well, but has some amazing berry flavor to it. I'm going to throw a flavor profile at you, and you might think I'm crazy, but if you ever had Captain Crunch cereal with the crunch berries, this reminds me of that. Of course, Captain Crunch is vegan, but it is not good for you. This has the essence of that. If you liked crunch berries once upon a time, you will love these cookies. They're great for kids. They have a nice pop-up color to them, and there's something different than the standard chocolate chip. So this is something that is especially fun and festive during the holidays because of the color.
What do you use as the kind of the gelling agent for everything?
I believe this is just oat flour. I think it's oat flour. I haven't looked at the recipe in a minute. This is a recipe I actually created last year. You can find this recipe on the PlantStrong website, PlantStrong Foods website, I believe. So this is on there as well. So there are a couple of the recipes that are in the guide that that you may have seen before. This is one of them.
Got it.
It was good enough to bring it back for a second year when I was reviewing the recipes that are in the guide. It's not one that I wanted to take out because I know how well these went over. My husband actually took this to his office party. I made 2 batches of them for him for his office party last year, and they disappeared. He came home with an empty container, which was really nice.
Amy, everybody's just kind of like their jaws are on the ground.
Well, I'm really excited that everyone is loving these recipes. It's a joy for me to create them, to make things a little bit easier and bring you some ideas. I know that the holidays especially can be a really tough time to stay the course.
Yeah.
To be standing at a holiday party where there is nothing plant strong to eat, I wanted to create some ideas for you that you could take to share. I think a lot of these are perfectly shareable for people who have no idea what plant strong is, and they are good in a way that you will not need to explain, right? I don't ever like to sort of make excuses for the way that we eat. I don't like to do that. I just love to present beautiful food. And so the recipes that I've shared in the guide this year, I think are recipes that everyone can enjoy, whether they're plant strong or not plant strong in any way, shape, or form. They're all worthy of sharing with others and enjoyable enough that I believe that even the biggest salt, sugar, fat friend who might enjoy eating the standard American diet will like most of these recipes as well.
Marley wants to know, loving the photos. Do you shoot those yourself, Amy?
I do. That's part of the fun for me. When I came to this style of eating, it was not my idea. It was my husband's idea. And I was not really excited about it. I'm not going to lie. I was along for the ride, but not because I wanted to be. I promised to help him on his journey. And ultimately, how I got started was I thought, if I can make a photo of if I can make a meal that I can present in a photo that looks appetizing enough, maybe I can convince people to do this. And that was sort of my thought process. And so I started making Plant Strong meals as an art project. Right? Literally, I thought, if I can decorate this plate, if I can make the burger look appetizing, if I can make this bowl look like something that somebody who doesn't eat this way would say, oh, wow, that looks great, I'll try that, then I'm won. I won the game. And so I started out on this journey by decorating plates. And when I put together my meals, I think about the color, the texture, the presentation, the things that you're putting together with it, because ultimately we do eat with our eyes. And I think that it's important, if you feel in some way that you are giving up things to eat this way, I challenge you to seek the adventure in making beautiful, colorful food that has amazing texture, amazing flavor. Really look to all of the edges of the produce department for all of those fun colors that you can work into your food. I think it does matter. Every meal doesn't have to be beautiful. Every meal should be tasty, but I think that you can combine the two in such a way that you can be really excited about the things that you're eating. And I think that it can be really important for our own morale to know that we get to eat this amazing, beautiful food.
Amy, so incredibly well said. You look at Sharon says, Amy is Wonder Woman. That's so nice of you all. Sue, I always love a recipe that looks good and not healthy. Marley, I love that. Jane, thanks so much. Amy, Marley, you are inspiring me more. I love photography too. Yes. So, I mean, Amy, you have done such a spectacular job in creating these recipes, taking the photos, making them, and then explaining them. So, I mean, gosh. So let's go back, if you don't mind, Amy. For people that did not attend the webinar yesterday, where they got the 24 recipes that came along with that bundle, how can they get the all the recipes you've just talked about?
Sure. So basically, we have put together a recipe guide that has 24 recipes in it. You can get the entire guide for free by purchasing $100 at plantstrongfoods.com. Between now and the end of the year, you don't have to do it today. Anytime between now and the end of the calendar year, you get this guide for free with your $100 order. If you would like the 4 recipes that are on the screen, I can send you those along with the link to the pumpkin chocolate chai snack cake. I can send you those if you drop an email to hello@plantstrong.com. I will send that to you today after we are done with this live. And, throughout the season, we will be presenting other recipes as well, and hoping that we find something that you really, truly can share with your family over the course of the holidays. And I do have a shameless plug. If you join me and John Fitzgerald on Wednesday warm up next Wednesday in the Facebook group, in the official Plant Strong community, we are going to be talking about pizza party in a house divided. How you make pizza that your whole family will love. I have some great ideas for you. I've got some ingredient swaps. I've got tips and tricks for making the whole family happy. Because for me, our family tradition for years, since I was in high school, has been to have pizza on Christmas Eve. Everybody makes their own pizzas. We watch Christmas Vacation, or we watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's a tradition that we do every year. And then everybody gets to make their own pizza. So when you have company over during the holidays on any random day, it could be any day that you want, I'm a big fan of the make your own pizza party. And so we're going to teach you how to make a pizza bar and sub out some ingredients for some things that might be more traditional on pizza on the standard American diet. We've got so many tips and tricks for you. We'll be talking about that next Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time inside the Plant Strong official.
I don't know if I can allow that. I think I may have to steal you away from your Wednesday morning with John and take you for Fridays.
I will gladly do it again with you on Friday, because it's definitely one of those things that almost everybody can agree on. Almost everybody loves pizza. And so it's definitely a bridge from one side to the other, whether you are eating the standard American diet or you are eating Plant Strong. We want you to have meals that you can share with everyone, whether it's friends over for book club night or you're sharing it with your family. I'm really excited to share the breakdown that I've made for you guys. I've been working on it for the past week. It will be up as a blog post as well. So we have all of that coming up next Wednesday. Hit me up in the Facebook group if you need some guidance on how to find that particular live event.
Yeah, like Marley wants to know, is that is the same Facebook that this live is on? Is that correct?
So that particular John Fitzgerald, one of the coaches in the Plant Strong coaching program, and I do a Plant Strong community Facebook group live event every Wednesday. So if you are a member of the official Plant Strong Facebook group, that's going to be different than this page. This page is informational, but it is not interactive in the way that we communicate over in the Facebook group. So if you do a search on Facebook for official Plant Strong community, you will find our Facebook group, and that's where we will be going live on Wednesday at 8:30 Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern, to cover the topic of pizzas. We talk about something different every Wednesday on Wednesday warm up. It's kind of like a little morning show that we do that we really have a lot of fun with. And we have a mindset minute and we talk about current events. John usually has an article to share, and we talk about any other thing that might be going on in the Plant Strong world. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you'll join us for that. But I'd be glad to do it with you any Friday you want, Rip.
Fantastic. My voice. Fantastic. Well, hey, you know what? We're at the top of the hour, and I've got another call I got to jump on. But Amy, this was so much more than I ever thought it would be. I appreciate the close to, well, anyway, everybody that joined us today, you guys are wonderful. Well, I wish you a very safe and healthy Halloween, and have a great weekend. Any departing words from you, Amy?
Listen, you can make this delicious and you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't have to be a big mess. So if you like easy, delicious meals, stick with me, visit me over in the Facebook group. I'm over there almost all day. And I'm glad to share any tips and ideas I have with you to make your holidays the easiest possible on the Plant Strong path.
Oh, spooktacular. Let's wait. Where was that? There it is. There it is. Sharon. Spooktacular. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great day.